fabulous.
It's showtime, folks.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Into the Music. My name is Greg. That guy over there is John. And before we get into the wonderful, amazing song I'm going to give him, this is going to be a good one. I'm raising the bar. But before we get into it, everyone out there, if you actually wind up liking this song, the reaction, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It's exploding. So jump on now while you can, okay? While there's still a seat available. And with that said, John, you ready for a song?
You betcha.
How about Free? The band Free.
Well, I'm not going to pay for it. No, sorry.
Yeah.
The band Free. Oh, man.
Do you know them?
Yeah, I'm ashamed to say that I only know All Right Now. And I know they're a big early 70s band, really much admired. And I know a bit about Paul Rodgers, but, I don't even know anything about Bad Company either, so that's a huge gap in my knowledge there.
Right. So
but
Paul,
I kind of know.
Right. So Paul Rodgers, the front man. Yeah. Pretty amazing talent. Great singer. Free. All Right Now. It's like, I think half the music listening planet, just knows that song from this band. Mr. Big, I've had to kind of I got like a sort of best of from Free. I have several Bad Company, I love that band. But, recently in the last few years, I kind of dug into Free, and this song came up, Mr. Big.
Mr. Big.
Yeah.
You thought of me.
I thought of you. Well, because you and I have talked about some like early blues rock bands like Fleetwood Mac, before the Fleetwood Mac that half the music planet sort of knows about, right? This is like blues. I think Peter Green, Fleetwood Mac,
he's a god.
Right. So this, when I started falling in love with this song, I said, you know what? I think I want to give this to John. I'm also going to give you their performance at the Isle of Wight in 1970. So I think that's going to be an extra treat. I hope. So
that was
quite
ahead. A famous one, I believe. 1971.
Every
Huge.
Freaking band and artist that that you and I love, have talked about, or Hendrix, right down the line, The Who, The Doors. I can keep going on. So go check it out. I sent you the link, and come on back and let me know what you think.
Will do. Okay, so this is blues rock. It just sounds great. It's right up my street. I love this sort of stuff.
the sound is fantastic, and the quality of the footage as well. It feels like a film that would be shown in the cinema. Yeah, this is ticking all the boxes. There's a great sort of rhythm to it as well. Awesome stuff so far. I just noticed the drummer's kit is so minimal. I mean, it just shows sometimes you don't need all the nonsense, because he's getting a great sound out of it. I know it's not complicated, but it sounds great. Just thought I'd mention it.
Just get out of here and don't you come back again. I don't need a thing from you, yeah. I don't wanna give you nothing to get out of here before I lose my key. Mr. Big, better watch out. And don't you hang around up at you. I will dig a great big hole in the ground. Oh yes, I will.
Love his expressions. What a crowd. Fabulous. The instrumental towards the end, it almost becomes sort of trance-inducing, just waves going over you. That was top draw.
To Greg.
Hey, I see you back. I see you back. Come on, already. Oh, yeah, you liked it.
Yeah, it's all right. No, it's brilliant. It was absolutely. It was a belter, absolute belter, no brainer. There was so much about it as well. I mean, again, it's not an overcomplicated song or whatever. You can, dissect it, but it's the whole feel. And before going to the music, the footage is just incredible.
I know, isn't it?
It feels like it's cinematic, that it'll be shown at the cinema rather than just on your telly. It just the way it's shot, and then those overheads. I mean, my God. I was just thinking that would never happen now. Health and safety nightmare. And I was just picturing one person right in the middle of that going, and when did you last see your car keys? It was just the massive humanity.
It's a small island.
Yeah.
And really quickly, 600,000 people at that concert for 4 or 5 days, where I believe the inhabitants, people living there, like 10,000. So you got 600,000. How the hell they actually planned it, got the people sort of transported onto the island, the whole thing. But it goes down as one of the great rock, extended concerts in history. I mean, I think even more than Woodstock.
Just 2 toilets, incredible. I've visited Isle of Wight many years ago, and the guy I met there, he says, I'll give you a tour of the island. And we went round in his sort of Jeep, and it took half an hour. And that was doing the whole island. So I know it's a small place.
Yeah.
But back to the song. So, it starts off, I mean, this isn't all right now. Very obviously, this is traditional sort of blues rock, and it really hit home. Paul Rodgers is fronting it out, and, he has got one of the greatest voices in the history of music, without a question, but it's not about him or his vocals at all. It's really about the guitarist and the rhythm section. And that song actually takes off. It goes from good to great when he stops singing. No offense, Paul, but no, it's just brilliant. And I love when they start. There was a couple of things I noticed in the video straight away, like the drummer. He's obviously used to belting it out because he's doing these exaggerated movements to try and keep in this sort of, must be for him, half time. So he's really moving his arms rather than just, because it's so slow.
Yeah.
And his kit is minimal. He's got hardly any drums, but he's still getting out this great sound. You don't need all the nonsense sometimes if you're good enough.
Yeah.
Bang, bang, bang with your little sort of $50 kit. And he was great. And then the guitarist, as it slowly went into that sort of solo stroke bridge stroke instrumental. I love the way he leaned back against the amps, and then he had these facial spasms, and he's really feeling it, and he's properly. I thought perhaps he backed into a loose wire somewhere. There was something about him, and I know they're not the same at all right? There's something about him that reminded me, and this is the wrong way round, of Angus Young. It really did. So the way he held himself a bit. I mean, he wasn't doing the stepping, and he wasn't dressed as a kid's uniform, but, and the styles are slightly different, but he just reminded me of that a bit.
I thought you were going to say Joe Cocker, because in Joe Cocker's sort of in the late 60s, and when he'd be like, there was a little bit of sort of facial mannerisms that were going on there too. But Angus Young, Yeah, he had his own facial tics too and stuff like
he
that.
did, yeah, he did. But they're feeling it and they're kind of singing.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, we're
know.
making fun, but I mean, it's everything that is coming out from those fingertips, right? In the guitar and the fingertips, it's all pulsating. It's coming out through his body. He's feeling it. That's just, when you see someone like that in that moment of like musical zen, just like, it's just incredible.
And I
it's
was
totally lost in it.
Yeah, and I would suspect that 80-90% of that was improvised. His guitar part, I reckon he would have made that up on the spot. Yeah. Which again is, you take it for granted, but it's incredible,
Yeah.
because they feel it, as you say, and it's coming out through his fingertips into 600,000 people or 1,200,000 eardrums, 1,200,000, bloody hell. A lot of big numbers anyway. And there's that shot from behind the stage. Again, the stage looks fairly sort of, it's not showy. There's a bit of scaffolding, in the middle, keeping it up. And it's just knocked up to just do the music. They're not, fancy. But there's that shot from the back, and it's just a sea of humanity. And it looks like, glorious weather as well. It just looks incredible. And again, I was thinking to myself, this is just, but I was thinking, what sort of PA system do they have? Because nowadays you're at a festival, and if you're halfway back, you've got a giant screen with a close-up of the guitarist's fingers and, relayed. So again, people who were just there because they love the music, not all they're messing around and taking pictures of themselves for their Instagram account, Go on.
No, you please.
So, but the final thing that really struck me was the bass player. When the guitarist was doing the bridge and instrumental solo, whatever you want to call it, he started going on these high runs that were just lovely, really, really good. So, and I really enjoyed that a lot. So, in essence, I mean, they're obviously, this is the first time I've ever seen Free play live. And it's the first song I've listened to apart from All Right Now, to my knowledge. They were incredibly tight, well drilled, and very, very impressive. And I absolutely love the song. It's right up my street, and exactly what I'd listen to on a weekly, if not daily basis. So big thumbs up. Yeah,
this is great. So Simon Kirk is the guy playing drums. I believe that's Simon. Simon became the drummer for, if I'm not mistaken, I believe, knowing the band, Bad Company. I used to be into Bad Company a lot more years ago, but I believe Simon was the drummer for that band as well. And then you had Andy Fraser, who died in 2015. He was the bass guitarist. And then you had Paul Kossoff, who he's the guitarist. And he died in 1976, I believe. I think it was an aneurysm. But they had broken up. They had broken up in for a long time. I thought they broke up because when he died, like it was an upcoming band, and then he died, and then that was it. And then all of a sudden, Bad Company came along. But it's actually seems like in doing research on the song that they broke up in 73, and then he died in 76. So, and Paul Rodgers, I mean, lead vocalist, I think he's amazing. I'm going to give him a little bit more cred on this song, this performance. I think that he, as great as the rhythm section and the band taking over, as he kind of stopped singing, but I think it was a handoff. I think he set them up really nicely. He's like, I got it, we're good, take over, here we go, here's a baton, run with it. And I think his vocals are so, especially in this song, I mean, he can actually sing. He's got all these different sort of ranges and different, he can sing like really powerfully. And then he can, especially in the Free days, make it smoky and raspy, almost like a sort of Rod Stewart, a little bit, just that kind of, and make it really interesting. And he did in this performance. Now, might have been that he might have been straining, although I think this was the second song of their set. So it's not like at the end. So if he was straining, I don't, who knows what was going on before they started. But I actually found it really interesting Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry. So he did a sort of a Wales type screech at one bit.
Yeah.
It sounded just like Janis Joplin. It was exactly the same.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
It was,
Yeah. No, I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's that.
And that's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. I think he goes down as one of the great rock and roll voices of all time. One of
course.
not saying the, but he is right up there. I don't think enough people talk about him in that way though, and they should. But yeah, I mean, the big song was, All Right Now and Wishing Well, which I don't really, that's what Wiki is saying here, but I really know him mainly by All Right Now. And now Mr. Big. And so I keep on getting into, again, I had like the greatest hits and I listen to it. And every once in a while, I'll put that on and I'll just sort of, get swept away in just blues rock. And it just takes me away. It's so good. And then as far as that concert, the Isle of Wight Festival, 1970, just reading off Wiki a little bit, held between August 31st and the 26th and 31st of August, 1970. Free played their set the last day. And this was the last of 3 consecutive music festivals to take place on the island between 68 and 1970. And it's often acknowledged as the largest musical event of its time, with the larger attendance than Woodstock. So that's when I made the comment about Woodstock, probably I got like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, talking about like as the size and all like that. Because I think it was in the context when you were like wondering how they shipped them all in and the porta potties and all this and all that. And it's even bigger than Woodstock. And like I said, so here we go. Jimi Hendrix, Chicago, The Doors, Moody Blues, Who, Miles Davis, Joan Baez, Joni Mitchell, Jethro Tull, Sly and the Family Stone, 10 Years After, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and of course, the one and only Free. And it's a whole bunch of others, David Bromberg and Chris Christopherson, Melanie. Yeah, I mean, just
how much are the tickets, Greg? I'm in.
Supertramp. Before they just got together and they're playing at this concert. Yeah, I know. Let's go.
Wow, you would, wouldn't you? You really would.
I'm Dave Fogg. I'm like, where's my clothes? Well, that's Woodstock.
I worked with a guy at a factory once years ago when I just left school, and I used to work factory jobs in the summer holidays and stuff. And this old boy called Henry, he worked at the forklift outside, and he would tell me in his break, we had a fag break, and he would tell me about during the late 60s, they used to put on free concerts in the London parks during the summer.
Okay.
And he saw like Otis Redding and people like that for free. And I was always so jealous, just amazing. And not, but I was trying to one that sprung to mind, but I think he saw Aretha Franklin as well. And, he was seeing all of those sort of bands. And wow. I mean, just wow. And I would have killed. Do you say it was August?
Yes, August. Yep. Yeah. And
I don't think I'd have got in. I was only 3 months old. So I'd have gone on the back of somebody.
So I do want to correct myself. I said 10,000 people population on the island. People normally living there, 100,000. I left that 10. Sorry.
Right. It's still incredible.
I mean, just trying to come up with a PA system, it seemed like, something that was going to be strong. Again, when you think about the Free performance and just, with their minimal sort of instruments or their, I guess, guitar and the bass. Okay, what else do you want? But the power that was going out through the speakers. I mean, back in those days, you didn't have what we have now. So yeah.
And the clip sounded so good as well. The YouTube clip, it
did sound, yeah.
It's probably been cleaned up, but even so, it sounded great.
And like you said, I think you referred to, there was one moment where, again, with Rogers, and they had already shown sort of like they scanned the crowd, but there was one shot behind Rogers and he's kind of wiggling his butt and you see the crowd. And I was trying to put myself into his wiggling butt as he's like looking at the crowd. he must have been. And I think he's doing the whole rock and roll thing too. And I'm like, he was a rock and roll god. Some consider, his career as it took, but that moment, whatever, he must have just felt like it. Like I'm on a stage, hundreds of thousands of people. Holy shit, what a moment, right? To be in the moment.
I had exactly the same thought, but at that point, I thought to myself, look at that, and you're there on stage. You either wilt or your ego goes through the bloody roof. They're the two options, aren't they? And I would have wilted. But yeah, you have to be of that certain character to cope with that,
I think
amazing.
I think there was some groupies hanging around that paid for it later that night.
Yeah,
I think the
God.
ego got really. I think they were.
Yeah,
they were like,
and
yeah.
you can kind of understand it a bit,
They must have been really riding high, man. I mean,
Oh.
they played like it. So
Yeah.
Cool. I'm so glad you like it.
Yeah, it's great. I'm definitely going to check out more free now. Absolutely.
Excellent. So do you want to take us out? You want me to do it? I can do it.
Go on then.
Everyone, John, you have a great rest of the night. And folks out there, really hope you like this song, this performance. Our chatter, right? Interesting. Are we on the mark? What else did we not mention about this great performance, this great concert? Let us know. And if you were there, let us know. Okay. And I'm really interested in hearing from you. And with that said, we'll see you, every one of you, on the next episode of Into the Music.